Alright, here we are, another day working on the seat pedestals in Carmen Sandiego. We're going to get in on the rust here, so I'm going to put you up on the tripod and let's see what we're getting into. Alright, so since we're not going to end up needing the battery cover anymore, I'm going to go ahead and drill all the rivets out and take it off. And then I'm going to use a wire brush and completely clean out this whole area so that we can see how bad the rust really is. Alright, so I got this tool here. It's just a pick, but I'm going to go ahead and pick around at the different rust in here and see if we have any metal that is too thin, in which case I'm going to cut it out and weld in new sheet metal. Alright, so the good news is that anywhere where there was rust up in this upper section seems solid. Pounding on it with this tip on here should pierce through anything that's thin. We're going to move our way down into the battery box, which is where the real damage is, and see how much of this is going to have to get cut out. I'll go ahead and zoom in here so you can follow along. Alright, so this is the hole that we saw yesterday through the battery box. The rubber was covering this up, so I actually never even knew it was here. Got some kind of a sealant that was used. I'm assuming this is the sealant for the sheet metal from the factory. So luckily underneath the sealant there's still clean metal. I'm not detecting any real weak metal in here at all, which is good, obviously. So it really looks like the only damaged spot in this battery box and storage compartment is going to be right here. where we'll cut this section out. So let's go ahead and keep moving on with getting this all cleaned up and prepped. Alright, now that we got the passenger seat pedestal all cleaned up, let's go ahead and take a look and see what we're in for. So, I've taken the wire brush to it and gotten most of the rust scale off and most of the bad paint, so we can actually get down and see the nitty-gritty of what we're looking at here. First off, we have the rust hole that we saw yesterday. Not a whole lot bigger than it was when we saw it at first. The metal is fairly strong around it. So we're going to cut a patch out of a parts van for that area and weld it in the next episode. I'm noticing here at the bottom of the seat pedestal on my cargo floor, don't look at my cargo floor, it's nasty. Right down in here I'm starting to see some rust. I'm going to scrape all this out better so that I can kind of see what I'm looking at. It's a horrible place for water to get caught up. Like right here. So actually, while we're all together, let's take a look at that. This is some old body sealer from the factory that's kind of peeling back. Kind of get in here a little closer. Kind of scrape some of this stuff out here because I really want to get down and see kind of what the condition of the metal is. I know that the cargo floor, parts of it have to be replaced from years of being wet. The sealer actually is still soft right there, which is kind of cool. Alright, so I'm going to take all this back here and kind of get a look at what we're seeing. Plastic with a little bit of air here. All right. So it doesn't really look like there's any real perforation in here. And it doesn't even really look like the metal is weak. But it is going to be something that we're going to have to come through here with a wire brush, get all the rust out completely so that we can coat it. Alright, so moving our way into the battery box itself. The rust in here is much better than we initially thought. Now again, this is just kind of lightly wire brushed, still a lot of work to do in here, but the metal is really solid in here. The only real damage is right here The rest of it is really solid, so it's going to be a matter of cleaning it all down to bare metal and coating it. Again, right here, you saw me earlier take a pick to it to try and get it to give, and the metal is really solid here. So this is going to be no problem at all. I got to remove the battery cables and finish grinding all of this out. Alright, so now that that's all cleaned up, I'm gonna chop this nasty rust hole out of here. Alright guys, we're off to a great start so far. We've gotten the rust cut out of the battery box. I've removed the subwoofer from its original enclosure to start fitting it in. Looks like it's going to fit in here pretty nicely. All of the battery wiring has been removed from the battery box and is now going to start getting routed underneath the rear bench seat. The next step is going to be cutting our patch panel out of the parts van so that we can weld up this nice little hole we got going on right here. And then we're going to start prepping the other seat pedestal so that hopefully by the end of this weekend we can have all of this coated in bed liner. If you like the content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and we'll catch you on the next video.